Despite the many trials and confrontations Hughes had to overcome in his life, his accomplishments and pieces tell the story of a hard-working, dedicated man who challenged discrimination with a pen and paper. Langston's family began influencing him from a very early age. Shortly after he was born on February 1, 1902, his parents separated. He remained in the care of his mother, Carrie Langston, and his grandmother, Mary Langston. His father, James Hughes, had moved to Mexico out of bitterness towards a Jim Crow society after his dreams of being a lawyer were turned down because of his skin color. Langston's mother and grandmother instilled in him a pride and fidelity towards his African-American heritage when he was just a small boy. According to Roberson, Hughes' grandmother helped inspire in Hughes a devotion to the cause of social justice. Hughes first began to write poetry in the 8th grade when his classmates assumed he had rhythm and elected him class poet. Rummel states that Langston recited a poem at the graduation ceremonies that year and received much praise and applause. Langston simply states, "That was the way I began to write poetry." At the age of 13, Langston left his home in Lawrence, Missouri, and went to stay with his mother in Cleveland, Ohio. Influenced by World War I, which was taking place during that time, he wrote pieces for a literary magazine at the Central High School. He then decided to visit his father when he was 17. Along the way, he wrote The Negro Speaks of Rivers, which was his first commercially published poem. Hughes continued to write exceptional pieces, starting with smaller works and expanding to larger ones. However, he loved more than poetry and books throughout his career. He left a legacy. The common thread in the works of Langston Hughes is the struggle of colored people, especially children, to live, overcome, and continue to dream in the face of a wall built on a foundation of stereotypes. In his essay, The Negro Artist and the Racial Mountain, Hughes states that this is the mountain standing in the way of any true Negro art in America. This urge within the race toward whiteness, the desire to pour racial individuality into the mold of American standardization, and to be as little Negro and as much American as possible. The amount of pride Hughes has in his race is seen clearly throughout his works as he encourages colored people to press on through the wall. Hughes shows in his short stories such as One Christmas Eve that colored children are introduced to this struggle very early in life and repeatedly emphasizes that the struggle against this wall is very evident to all ages. In The Negro Artist and the Racial Mountain, Hughes writes about a young Negro poet that wishes he were white. It is highly possible that Hughes experienced his own internal struggle with this thought, especially because of his father's influence, and wants other colored people to see themselves for who they are. Langston uses vivid imagery to describe the wall and the effect it has on colored people in their dreams. In his poem As I Grew Older, Hughes portrays a struggle with the wall that is slowly rising between him and his dreams, and that eventually casts a shadow on him. However, in Hughes' writing, there seems to be a victorious tone in every conclusion. Freedom and honor are common motifs. He stresses that even though Negroes are faced with adversity, they must not surrender their fight for their dreams. Langston also emphasizes the theme of embracing individuality without fear in his essay The Negro Artist and the Racial Mountain through specific imagery, confident tone, and critical ethos as stated in character types. In this essay, Hughes' main goal is to open the eyes of those who are blinded by social standards and fear of the strange whiteness of their own features, to the truth that beauty isn't skin deep, it is reflected by embracing individuality. How can one embrace individuality when he or she, as Rampersad states, is caught between the contending forces of black and white culture, and caught between class divisions within his or her own racial group? This is the mountain Hughes writes about. Before concluding his essay, Hughes builds the critical ethos mentioned in character types and narrative modes, by giving his readers an insight to his individual style of art and motivation behind it. He reveals the fact that he too struggles with pressure from American standardization. By establishing ethos through his own individual struggle and personal expressions, he challenges the youth of his time to restore confidence and pride in the beauty of individuality. He ultimately empowers his people to find their true identity and be confident in it. The works of Langston Hughes stands a challenge to his race and everyone, to find within ourselves our own beauty and become free, not only free from the chains of stereotypes and the undertow of criticism, but most importantly, free to dream. Langston Hughes died May 22, 1967 in New York, New York. He is remembered as one of the foremost interpreters of the African American experience in the U.S.
Have a seat. I am the darker brother. They send me to eat in the kitchen when company comes, but I laugh. And I eat well, and I grow strong. Tomorrow I'll sit at the table when company comes. Nobody'll dare say to me, eat in the kitchen then. Besides, they'll see how beautiful I am and be ashamed. I, too, am America.